Welcome to Academic Festival, which is the signature alumni homecoming at Teachers College. I love Academic Festival for three main reasons. One, it allows us to showcase the extraordinary work and expertise of faculty, alumni, and students. Two, we get to pay homage, as we will in a minute, to very distinguished alumni who are having a phenomenal impact on the world. And three, it's a wonderful occasion for alumni to reconnect with one another. This year, we're exploring the intersection of art, science, technology, engineering, and math, going from STEM to STEAM. From its beginnings, Teachers College has worked across education, health, and psychology to heighten our understanding and make revolutionary discoveries. Arts education started at TC, and we've long understood the arts as an integrator of knowledge across so many disciplines and fields. So adding an A to STEM to make it STEAM, which everybody else is doing, is natural for TC and is something that we've done for at least 100 years. Maxine Greene, the beloved TC educational philosopher, would have been an ideal guide for us today when she said, "It is through imagination that we become wide awake to possibilities." She believed it was the arts that offered the most direct route. Another TC icon, John Dewey, said that every great technical advance is issued from a new audacity of imagination. He believed that learning must therefore be as broad and rich an experience as we can make it. Thanks to so many pioneering teachers and scholars, STEAM is alive and well at Teachers College, and Academic Festival offers more than 20 sessions, something for everyone, to showcase the creative approaches by TC faculty, alumni, and students to address and solve so many of the challenges and to seize the opportunities confronting our society today. Take advantage of this movable feast. By the end of the day, you'll share in the excitement and enthusiasm that runs throughout Teachers College 24/7. This is a terrific gathering. I'm so pleased to see so many familiar faces today, members of our board whose dedication to TC makes all we do possible, members of the President's Advisory Council, the Alumni Council, of course, which is responsible for this fantastic event, and our 21st century leaders. It's great to see many new faces as well, particularly our newly admitted students. Could I see a show of hands from them? Yay. So yesterday was Newly Admitted Students Day, and we had a wonderful day with them, and many are here this morning. So if you see a newly admitted student, just grab them and say, of course you're coming here. There's no question about it. I look forward to welcoming you all to our wonderful fellowship of students in the fall. To all our alumni gathered here today, welcome back. TC alumni represent an incredible cross-section of geography and accomplishment. 90,000 strong, they come from 50 states, DC, Puerto Rico, and 135 countries. Their impact, your impact, is evident wherever teachers, artists, scholars, entrepreneurs, education leaders, health professionals, public servants are working to build a better future. What sets the TC graduate apart is an abiding commitment to social justice, a passion to create a smarter, healthier, more equitable, and peaceful world for all. We take great pride in our alumni. Each year, we have the difficult task of selecting a group to honor for their extraordinary achievements. I want to ask Rosella Garcia, our Senior Director of Alumni Relations, to come up and help us recognize our distinguished alumni.
It is my honor to introduce you to the 2016 Distinguished Alumni, a group of 7 extraordinary individuals who are all worthy of our emulation. To our newly admitted students, I hope you'll take note of the caliber of alumni who are among the core of the Teachers College Alumni Network. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Randy Bennett holds the Frederiksen Chair in Assessment Innovation at the Educational Testing Service. He is a world-renowned expert on the computerizing of assessments and a leader in efforts to harness the full potential of digital technology and apply advances in learning and cognitive sciences to testing. He also holds 3 degrees from TC in special education and learning disabilities. He served on our faculty from 1977 to 1980. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Randy Bennett. Dr. Mary Ellen McGuire made her start as a 5th and 6th grade classroom teacher, yet she went on to serve as the senior education advisor to President Obama on the White House Domestic Policy Council. She has since created the Post-Secondary National Policy Institute, which has become the nation's leading source of professional development for policymakers working on higher education issues. She holds 2 degrees from TC, and no less an authority than our own Professor Sharon Lynn Kagan says that she has had as much, if not more, impact on federal policy than any TC alumnus. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mary Ellen McGuire. Dr. Lita Orzik earned her TC degree in social organizational psychology, working with Morton Deutsch, the great authority on conflict resolution. In a career change that surprised even her, she became founding partner and CEO of Hanky Panky, a lingerie line so successful that Forbes magazine has said it sells a panty per second. For nearly 40 years, she has set the bar for ethical business standards that promote local sourcing, sustainability, and recyclable packaging. She has also channeled a sizable percentage of earnings to support nearly 60 nonprofits. At Teachers College, she is a founding member of the Grace Dodge Society and a generous supporter of student scholarship. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Lita Orzik. Dr. Nancy Schlossberg is a beloved former professor whose famed transition theory has created a systematic framework for understanding the life changes of adults. She's also America's retirement guru, and her television appearances and best-selling books have moved the national conversation about post-career existence from a focus on mere financial and medical planning to one about our relationships, goals, and sense of purpose. Not surprisingly, she holds 2 degrees from Teachers College, both in counseling. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nancy Schlossberg. Dr. Yupa Udamsak earned her TC degree in physical education and made health education her lifelong passion. She has argued that no matter how many resources are invested in hospitals, it won't make a difference if people don't know how to look after their own health. She subsequently became Thailand's first female Minister of Education and the first woman member of parliament to be appointed as a minister in the Thai cabinet. She was elected vice chairman of the Constitution Drafting Assembly, which created the most democratic constitution in her nation's history. Today, she is a successful business leader whose foundation funds education projects in rural villages like the one in which she grew up. Ladies and gentlemen, Thailand's beloved, Dr. Yupa Udamsak. David Johns came to TC to study classroom and community dynamics, but through Aaron Pallas's sociology courses, he discovered the world of education policy and ended up heading to Washington, D.C. as a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Fellow. He went on to serve as the Senior Education Policy Advisor to the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. He was most recently named to the newly created post of Executive Director of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence for African Americans. In this role, he is creating multi-agency partnerships to improve educational outcomes for African Americans of all ages. Ladies and gentlemen, our Early Career Award recipient, David Johns. Unfortunately, Dr. Olivia Hooker, who is 101 years young, was not able to be with us today. As a child, she lived through the infamous Tulsa race riots of 1921, in which nearly 300 African Americans were killed. Later, during World War II, she served as the first African American woman in active duty in the Coast Guard. She earned a master's degree in psychological services from Teachers College and became a nationally known advocate for the developmentally disabled. She co-founded the Tulsa Race Riot Commission, which has fought to win reparations for survivors and descendants of the riot victims. An avid advocate for life after retirement, she served in the Coast Guard Auxiliary when she was 95 years old. When she didn't feel quite well enough to join us today, she insisted on taping a message for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear Dr. Olivia Hooker. Dr. Hooker, it is my extreme pleasure to present you with the Teachers College Distinguished Alumni Award.
You are really making me joyful, and I certainly was overwhelmed with the idea that I was nominated. And the person I was talking to said, "You were unanimously voted." I said, "Oh my, that is amazing." It would have been my joy to be with you, and I congratulate you. First, I would like to give tribute to Professor Nick Hobbs, who was at Teachers College, but whom I first met at Ohio State. And he devoted himself to trying to preserve or establish justice for all the vulnerable people who were there. And it was only because of him that I'm here getting this award, because he found ingenious ways to help those who were not being equal to everyone else. I'd like to thank my parents, of course, and also to say the last issue of the Alumni magazine absolutely cheered me, because it showed me how diverse, how many people whose aims have been raised. It showed me what Teachers College in Columbia is like today, and that pleased me so much. And the second thing, I'd like to thank Teachers College at Columbia is for their arranging for us to cross the great divide. So I thank the college for their vision in making sure we had access to their major people in the world in psychology. I have often hoped that people would be encouraged to take a second career, because so many people who retire at 55, they still have so many gains to give to the world. And I shall treasure this day for the rest of my life.
Truly an amazing woman. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have one more round of applause for all of our Teachers College Distinguished Alumni? I'd like to thank the Alumni Council for helping us to select such fine examples of alumni who are doing their part to spread the TC impact all over the world. If you know of an equally deserving TC alumnus or alumna, please nominate him or her. You can find the nomination forms and online and also at the registration desk. And now I'll turn the program back to one of my favorite distinguished alumni, President Susan Furman.
Thank you. What an amazing group. I had not seen that little film with Olivia Hooker. So I hope we can dry our eyes for a moment. So just to tell you that the names of all these distinguished alumni are etched in at the main entrance to Teachers College in Zankel Hall, joining the esteemed group of past distinguished alumni, and each demonstrates in a very vivid way what it means to get a TC education. We know that the future of TC rests on the successful engagement of our alumni. We've worked hard this year to increase opportunities to connect alumni to one another and to us, and the results have been impressive. This year, we've already hosted more than 30 alumni events, engaging nearly 1,500 alumni in 14 different regions, and expanded online efforts, including a monthly webinar series focused on career development. And there's lots more planned. So yes, we're thrilled to have you back. And I'm so proud to get to give you all a chance to catch up on the wonderful, exciting, innovative work and progress at Teachers College. We're very focused on new innovative programming, certificates for people who already have a master's degree, may not want another degree, and degree programs in new and exciting fields. So, for example, we just started a bilingual Latino mental health concentration, which is the only program in the tri-state area to offer culturally appropriate training for delivering mental health services in Spanish to Latinas and Latinos. We've similarly started a new program in bilingual, bicultural special education for teacher education candidates to meet the needs of culturally and linguistically diverse students with disabilities. Last fall, our Department of Curriculum and Teaching launched a new doctoral specialization for teacher educators. You know, many people who teach teachers have come into that role accidentally. They got a doctorate in their field of study, mathematics or science, and then went on to teach teachers without special preparation for that role. So this new concentration offers content in adult learning, in teaching pedagogy, in supervising instruction, and all the other skills that professional teacher educators will need. There are certainly many wonderful initiatives underway in STEAM fields. We started a creative technologies concentration in arts education centered on our new re-outfitted fabrication laboratory, our own Fab Lab. We're also very excited about our new master's degree just approved by the state in the digital design of games, whose curriculum, developed by innovative scholars and practitioners, examines game design from multiple perspectives. Coming this summer, we're going to offer a Tinker Teacher Technology 3-day summer boot camp, intensive boot camp, for educators to learn about making and using innovative technologies in their classrooms. As we've done throughout our history, we're also addressing the world's most difficult challenges, uncovering new evidence of the resilience of human beings to even the greatest adversity. Professor Helena Verdelli, director of the Global Mental Health Lab at TC, is working with her team to support the 1 million Syrian refugees in camps in the Middle East. The team is working with the government there in those countries to develop a mental health infrastructure. Lena has pioneered in the use of interpersonal therapy with people in regions afflicted by war and disaster that formed the basis of a manual and now an app being distributed by the World Health Organization. The educational and psychological ramifications of refugee crises are enormous. It's estimated that 51% of refugees worldwide are under the age of 18. And the average stay in a refugee camp is 17 years. So the crisis of displaced people around the world is mind-boggling. And last summer, Professor Susan Garnett-Russell and Professor Mary Mendenhall helped teachers of displaced children in a Kenyan refugee camp, developing professional development approaches that are highly applicable to refugee situations. TC students were actively involved in teacher training and are helping to develop a new mobile mentoring app. Lena and Mary will be panelists in the session Lending a Hand in the Wake of Disaster later today. Here at TC, we established a new Resilience Center for Veterans and Families. We launched it in November. The center combines cutting-edge research on human and emotional resilience with clinical training of therapists to assist veterans and their families as they transition back to civilian life. We're also focused on advancing diversity in all areas of teaching and learning. For example, TC completed an extensive mapping project of more than 60 courses related to race, ethnicity, and intercultural understanding. The project was led by Professor Amy Stewart Wells, who's a panelist on a session today on careers and federal education policy. And this summer, with Amy's guidance, TC will host Reimagining Education, Teaching and Learning in Racially Diverse Schools, a 4-day institute for educators, policymakers, and parents who live and work in racially and ethnically diverse communities and want to learn more about teaching about race. I also want to share 2 major program milestones we're thrilled to be celebrating this year. Just last month, we hosted the 20th anniversary celebration for our Minority Postdoctoral Fellowship Program. Past fellows came and enjoyed 3 days of festivities, including a full-day conference where they shared their experiences and reflections. A moving keynote address was presented by Khalil Muhammad, director of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. The 30-plus minority postdoctoral fellows have gone on to become college deans, department heads, and endowed professors. 4 are current TC faculty members: Erica Walker, Callie Waite, Lalitha Vasudevan, and Michael Wilson. Greg Anderson, a former professor before he became dean at Temple University, was also a TC Minority Postdoctoral Fellow. The program has excelled in meeting its primary objective, to provide a supportive community for scholars of color as they advance their work and pursue careers devoted to the public good. And we look forward to the continued vibrancy of this program. This year also marks the 20th anniversary of the founding of TC's Community College Research Center. CCRC has become the nation's leading policy and research center for community colleges as the gateway for access to higher education. I want to salute Tom Bailey, the George and Abby O'Neill Professor of Economics and Education, for his extraordinary leadership. Tom will be leading a session later today, and our year-long celebration of CCRC will culminate in a huge, it says huge, so, okay, at least large, anniversary event at TC this fall, and we will keep you posted. As these 2 programs demonstrate, all that we do at TC is grounded in a belief in the power of education to excite, inspire, and advocate for positive change in the world. And this mission is shared and generously supported by our donors who are so engaged and so committed to our well-being and to our $300 million campaign, Where the Future Comes First. Even at the current level, okay, I'm going to say it, of $236 million. Yesterday I was saying 235.4, but 236, I do round up a little. This campaign is already the largest ever for a graduate school of education, so let's all applaud ourselves. The campaign supports our world-class faculty, shaping new fields of practice and inquiry. It enables us to transform our historic buildings into dynamic new learning spaces, smart classrooms, and then this fall, we will open a 10,000 square foot learning theater on the 4th floor of Russell, a reconfigurable space for exploring new directions in teaching and learning. I'm sure there will be a lot of steam generated there. I hope it's the right kind of steam. It's still under construction, so we're not sure. But what remains our number one priority in our campaign is the support of our dedicated and talented students. To date, we have more than 128 newly named scholarships to support TC's rising stars among the best and brightest future leaders in the world. You'll have the opportunity to get acquainted with a number of outstanding TC students today on hand, presenting during the day and at this afternoon's poster session featuring their research. They typify the best of our students who make important contributions to their fields and the world, even before they earn their degree. Alumni have enthusiastically supported our campaign, and last summer, as we reached our 200 million milestone, alumni came out in full force all over the world for TC's Global Day in July, which featured 42 events in 19 U.S. states, 15 countries, and 41 cities. So one city had 2 events, so if you were counting. That's absolutely wonderful. Let's applaud that. I know that all of you at Academic Festival will enjoy taking in the sights and sounds of TC. You may want to take special note of the many ways the arts are on display here. The magnificent Macy Art Gallery, of course, art studios lining the basement of Zankel, including the Thing Space, where you can attend a hands-on session this afternoon, and music practice rooms on the 4th floor of Horace Mann. You'll be surrounded by the pioneering spirits of TC alumni Georgia O'Keeffe, Robert Pace, Arthur Dow, Agnes Martin, and others who studied the arts here. Great scholars in math, science, and technology have also made TC their academic home, and so many TC graduates have gone on to stellar careers advancing new directions. Just as an example, there's PhD alumnus Matthew Patinsky, CEO of Parchment, 2012 recipient of the TC Presidential Medal of Excellence and co-founder of Blackboard. Matt is considered among the nation's foremost technology entrepreneurs and visionaries. Millions of students across the world use Blackboard technologies. Another visionary in the field of teaching and learning technologies is TC alumnus Daniel Schwartz. Last year, Dan was appointed Dean of Stanford's Graduate School of Education. So, any accomplishments that Stanford has in the field of technology, we claim as TCs. As Senior Director for Education and Policy at New York City's American Museum of Natural History, Maritza McDonald is offering transformative learning opportunities for science teachers. And then there's Art Garfunkel, who was working toward his doctorate in math education at TC before taking a leave of absence to record an album that generated a little buzz. A Bridge Over Troubled Waters resulted in Art's leave of absence, now going on 47 years. But he's always welcome back to resume his doctoral studies. So this year's academic festival is filled with TC's innovative spirit in STEAM. And today you'll meet faculty who continue to invent new ways for integrating arts, math, science, and technology with phenomenal results. Take Associate Professor of Science Education, Christopher Emden. An award-winning educator, Chris has pioneered the use of hip-hop and rap to teach science educators how to turn middle and high school students onto science. Named a champion of change by the White House in 2014, Chris was one of 10 educators honored for creating opportunities and broadening diversity in the STEM professions. He also, we just learned, will be receiving the Early Career Award of the American Educational Research Association next week. His new book, just out, is titled For White Folks Who Teach in the Hood, and the Rest of You All Too, Reality, Pedagogy, and Urban Education. Those of you attending Chris's book talk today are in for a real treat. Another leader in the use of creative technology that we'll hear from today is Professor of Communications and Technology, Lalitha Vasudevan. As head of TC's new Media and Social Change Lab, Lalitha convenes interdisciplinary groups of students to explore the relationship between media and scholarship. Later today, she will be joined by her colleagues Laura Smith and Ernest Morel in a session on inspiring the next chapter of social change, which examines how new media are giving a voice to traditionally marginalized and disenfranchised youth. Many believe these marginalized youth and learners of all types are experiencing the arts as on-ramp to STEM and STEAM and finding personal relevance in STEM subjects. Judy Burton, director of TC's Art and Arts Education, is helping to lead the conversation at TC about why the A is necessary in addition to the STEM. At her session, STEAM and the Dissolving of Boundaries, she'll talk about how advances in neuroscience have allowed us to think more broadly and flexibly about learning and art as a crossroads discipline. We want to bring the fruits of these conversations and collaborative work on STEAM to schools and cultural organizations throughout the city and country. Right now, we're preparing to launch an exciting certificate program to prepare teaching artists from music, theater, dance, and visual arts to become more effective educators in classrooms, museums, and other arts and cultural institutions. We want to thank Leslie Nelson, TC trustee and campaign chair, for bringing this program to life with her brother Doug Morse and friend Kim Greenberg. They've connected TC with young audiences of New York to help launch the program. We're also very grateful to past TC Alumni Award honoree and dance educator and advocate extraordinaire, Jody Arnhold, for her leadership in arts education and her generous support of Teachers College. An afternoon screening of the documentary P.S. Dance will include a live talkback session in which Jody and her colleagues will discuss the movement to bring dance education to all New York City schools. For decades, TC's Music Education Department has prepared an extraordinary array of students and alumni as music educators, and you saw some of the talent earlier. You'll have the chance to appreciate more talents at our first ever jam session this afternoon. And that is at Everett Cafe at the last session today, and you are invited to bring an instrument or borrow one, or just come and enjoy. And the work of the music department is wide-ranging and not confined to the walls of TC. Hal Abele is professor of music and music education and co-director of the Center for Arts Education Research, works to improve music education for children in schools around the nation, as does associate professor of music education Lori Custodero. Lori was co-creator of WeBop, an early childhood jazz education program at Jazz at Lincoln Center, which will be providing a satellite program here today. You can get to know Lori at the panel on Artistry and Technology, Tools and Service to Humanity. As a musician, teacher, and researcher, Lori's had a great impact on children's music learning and has worked closely with our honored guest, Theodore Whitbread, including in founding the Very Young People's Concerts. Engaging young people with beautiful music is something very familiar to our keynote speaker. A lifelong passion for music has defined the stellar career of Ted Whitbread. As a composer and educator, he played an important role in the music life of New York City children and also on an international level. Since 2004, he has served as Vice President of Education and the Sue B. Mercy Chair of the New York Philharmonic. He hosts school day concerts and the Philharmonic's Young People's Concerts, continuing in the great tradition begun by Leonard Bernstein, who introduced a whole generation of children to classical music in the 1960s. Dr. Whitbread understands the challenges of our public schools, having worked as a teaching artist and resident composer in a number of New York City schools. With his very full professional workload, he continues to produce winning new works. He holds degrees from Harvard and Boston University and studied at Cambridge University as a visiting scholar. I'd like to ask Ted Whitbread to come to the stage, and would Lori Custodero please join me in helping to honor her colleague and friend. I am exceedingly pleased to present the President's Medal of Excellence to Theodore Whitbread for his ingenuity in finding innovative ways to make music matter to children, and in the process bringing them the transformative power of music. This is a gift beyond measure. Lori, could you please help me in honoring Ted?
Theodore Ted Whitbread, no celebration in the arts, in American education would be complete without recognition of your extraordinary accomplishments. Composer extraordinaire, Vice President of Education in the Sue B. Mercy Chair at the New York Philharmonic, beloved host of Philharmonic's school day concerts, young people's concerts, and director, arranger, creative director, organizer, wrangler, provocateur for the very young people's concerts, which I've had the pleasure of working with you for 11 years. Creator of educational and community-based programming at the Brooklyn Philharmonic, the Orchestra of St. Luke's, and the American Composers Orchestra. Director of national grant-making programs. It's a fantastic resume, yet it doesn't begin to describe the unique place you hold in the musical world, nor your gift for communicating the transformational power of music in all of its forms. Your own transformation began the day you walked into a first-level theory class at Harvard and realized that you would not, after all, become a biochemist. It continued with your discovery of music in David Del Tredici's and your studies in composition. And it remains ongoing, reflected by a growing body of work that has been said to capture the soul of 21st century America. Your violin concerto, Katrina, has been likened to a pointillistic painting that fractures familiar elements, such as Cajun, blues, and jazz, and reshapes them to reflect the chaos of the hurricane and its aftermath. As an educator, you transport others with similar ease across cultures, idioms, and eras, taking music off its pedestal and opening it to active participation. As composer in residence at a Brooklyn public school, you created choral music from the classic children's book, Chicken Sunday, which the students performed, accompanied by the American Saxophone Quartet. At the Philharmonic, you have recast the famed Young People's Concerts as multimedia, interactive experiences, and brought those concerts into schools. This past year, to mark the 150th birthday of John Sibelius, you taught students to express modern-day myths and heroes in their own music, just as Sibelius brought the heroes and myths of Finland to life in his. Ted Whitfruit at Teachers College, contrary to the old adage, we believe that those who teach must do, and those who teach art must also create art and awaken others to its magic. For embodying that ideal, for making music that challenges the mind while speaking to the heart, and above all, for bringing generations of young Americans along on your journey, we proudly present you with a Teachers College President's Medal of Excellence.